Chapter 1. I saw the cancer immediately. It was right there in front of me. As always, I found myself taking a sharp intake of breath as the realization hit, I am looking at the beginning of the end. The cancer was shaped like a dandelion. Sometimes this sort of tumor looks like a cheap Christmas decoration, a 5-and-dime star with ragged edges. This specific one was more like a minor-looking flower that had been denuded, stripped down to its seeds, but with an insidious, needle-like design, what radiologists call a spiculated structure. Spiculated. When I heard that word for the first time, I had to look it up. Discovered its origins were actually zoological, a spicule being a small needle-like structure, in particular any of those making up the skeleton of a sponge. I'd never realized that sponges have skeletons. But there was an astronomical meaning as well, a short-lived jet of gas in the sun's corona. This last definition nagged at me for weeks because it struck me as so horribly apt. A spiculated cancer, like the one I was looking at right now, might have commenced its existence years, decades earlier. But only once it makes its presence known does it become something akin to the burst of flame that combusts everything in its path, demanding total attention. If the flame hasn't been spotted and extinguished early enough, it will then decide that it isn't a mere fiery jet stream, rather a mini supernova which, in its final show of pyrotechnic force, will destroy the universe which contains it. Certainly the spiculated species I was now looking at was well on its way to exploding, and in doing so, ending the life of the person within whose lung it was now so lethally embedded. Another horror to add to the ongoing catalogue of horrors which are, in so many ways, the primary decor of my 9-to-5 life. And this day was turning out to be a doozy, because an hour before the spiculated cancer appeared on the screen in front of me, I had run a CT scan on a 9-year-old girl named Jessica Ward. According to her chart, she'd been having a series of paralyzing headaches. Her physician had sent her to us in order to rule out any neurological concerns, which was doctor shorthand for brain tumor. Jessica's dad was named Chuck, a quiet hangdog man in his mid-30s with sad eyes and the sort of yellowing teeth that hint at a serious cigarette habit. He said that he was a welder at the Bath Iron Works. "Jessie's ma left us 2 years ago," he told me as his daughter went into the dressing area we have off the CAT scan room to change into a hospital gown. "She died?" I asked. "I wish. The bitch, excuse my French, ran off with a guy she worked with at the Rite Aid pharmacy in Brunswick. They're living in some trailer down in Beston, that's on the Florida Panhandle. Know what a friend of mine told me they call that part of the world down there? The Redneck Riviera. Jessie's headache started after her ma vanished, and she's never once been back to see Jessie. What kind of mother is that?" "She's obviously lucky to have a dad like you," I said, trying to somewhat undercut the terrible distress this man was in and the way he was working so hard to mask his panic. "She's all I got in the world, ma'am." "My name's Laura," I said. "And if it turns out that what she has is, serious, and doctors don't send young girls in for one of these scans if they think it's nothing." "I'm sure your physician is just trying to rule things out," I said, hearing my practiced, neutral tone. "You're taught to say stuff like that, aren't you?" he said, his tone displaying the sort of anger that I've so often seen arising to displace a great fear. "Actually, you're right. We are trained to reassure and not say much, because I'm a technologist, not a diagnostic radiologist." "Now you're using big words." "I'm the person who operates the machinery, takes the pictures. The diagnostic radiologist is the doctor who will then look at the scan and see if there is anything there." "So